Namaste everyone, welcome to the Cārvāka podcast. This is Kushalmehra. So, as you all know, what has happened in Pahalgam. Just to give you a brief background, actually, Abhijit and I, today's podcast was going to focus specifically on Bangladesh. It was a completely different topic that we had thought of, but then now we are where we are. As everybody knows, Pakistani army-sponsored terrorists have conducted another brutal, should I say, Nazi-style attack, very much in lines with what happened on October 7th in Israel, in Pahalgam, where innocent tourists, along with other personnel, were shot at. And as we are conducting this live stream right now, it is 8:01. There is a CCS meeting going on right now, which will be finishing up, and then there will be a press briefing. So we don't know anything. But anyways, I'll just go straight to Abhijit. I am actually very angry and irritated. So, okay, how do we tackle this?
First, you have to understand there is no such thing as foolproof security. Okay. Uh, Everybody talks about what happened on October 7th in Israel. You look at the North Korean border. I've seen it from the South Korean side. I've seen it from the North Korean side. It's a few kilometers wide. It has trenches. It has mines. It has barbed wire. It has all kinds of shit. And still North Korean soldiers managed to defect through it. Okay. Israel, the security fence is a classic case. The fence, the cemented fence with West Bank didn't work very well. But of course, October 7th was a spectacular failure. Okay. Now we need to remember you can foil 4, 5, 600 attacks. It doesn't matter. The terrorist has to succeed only once. And it's still become a huge failure for you, which is what this was. That said, let us be very clear. Our response was actually swifter and much quicker, more to the point, decisive than the Israelis were on the 7th of October. The Israelis took 6, 7 hours, or sometimes almost realistically 24 hours to respond. We responded within 15 minutes. I've tweeted out the drone paths and things like that. There was a drone flying about 200 kilometers north of the attack area, which was immediately then sent south to Pahalgam within 15 minutes of the attack commencing. These are all available. It's open source intel. Anybody can bring it up. You can see the drone turn south within 15 minutes of the attack, starting at 14:50 hours, 2:50 in the afternoon. And it reaches there within about 40 minutes, which is, it flies slow, about 270 kilometers per hour. So it flies there. It already starts circling and taking images, which means it was reconnoitering the area. It is very dense forest out there. So they were doing infrared scanning of the forest to see if there were more people hidden. Because remember, in this clearing, it could have been an ambush. There could have been people hidden in the trees. After the attack happens, some police rush in, and then immediately the terrorists come and kill those policemen. And your death toll keeps going up and up and up and up that way. So first, you have to concentrate forces. And then you have to bring them to that particular area in time. We diverted air resources within 15 minutes. It was over the area 40 minutes after that. The troops, now remember the trail to this, I've also tweeted out a YouTube video of this trail. It's a Kacha trail. Even though it's 5.5 kilometers from the nearest motorable road, it takes you half an hour to get there. They concentrated the forces and brought them there within 15 minutes of the attack starting. That is an incredible response time. Okay, it is a response time anybody would be quite proud of. It brings no solace to the 27 people killed, but it is what it is. On top of that, remember, they came in and they stopped the end of that attack. We don't know how much more they were going to attack, but they stopped parts of that attack because 2 of the 4 terrorists were killed right there. Okay, two escaped. And the two who escaped, we have no idea about, because the biometrics, one guy we know nothing about who was killed. The other guy, we know that he was a Kashmiri who had exfiltrated out in 2018 to Pakistan. And he came back after, 7 years, 5 to 7 years back to carry out this mission. Now, it also shows you that, the average life expectancy of a terrorist, even at the peak of terrorism, was about 2 years in the valley. Now it's down to few weeks in the valley. If that isn't a great response, I don't know what is. Now, even intel failure is a big question mark, because, sometimes there is no intel for certain things. The more high tech you go, the more low tech the response has to become. That is what they do. And the more low tech you get, it becomes impossible to do it. Remember how long it took them to find Osama bin Laden hiding in Abbottabad? Why? Because he went total low tech. They had to start up a polio immunization campaign just to find him and things like that. So, this word intel failure, all these creeps like Rana Ayub and co use it because they want to sound informed and funny, or informed and wise, or whatever. They don't even know what the hell intel failure means. Okay, so let us be clear. Our response was very good. And you can never stop a terror attack. You can foil 400-500 of them. One will always get through. Now, to say that this means normalcy has been lost, like that idiot Rahul Gandhi tweeted, is complete bullshit. That's like saying because the Mumbai terror attack happened, and remember in Mumbai till 2008, even after 2008, people seem to forget, there were big bomb blasts that used to happen at a regular pace of 2 to 3 years. Does that mean Bombay was facing a state of insurgency at that point of time? The insurgency is over. You are going to have terror attacks now. There's nothing you can do about it. No country is able to stop it. Not Israel, not America, not Europe, not South Korea, not India. Full stop. The only difference is that South Korea, there are not terrorists, it's actual North Korean state action. In every other case, it's terrorists.
But then, okay, I just had a query about the intelligence failure bit. Okay, what would constitute an intelligence failure in something equivalent to this?
So intel failure would be if we knew it was going to be Pahalgam. Okay. If we knew that any of these characters were being infiltrated and we had failed to stop it. If we had intercepts about an imminent attack, which were not passed on, that would constitute an intel failure. Now, this will invariably be spun if there is no intel. Now, imagine if they did not use any kind of communications. It was a completely silent operation and they came in. Okay, which is possible, by the way. It's totally possible. You can come in, cross the border, look like normal people, buy provisions at a market, because two of them would have spoken with the local dialect and local accent and things like that. Coming from across the border, Kashmiris can tell you're not a local. Okay. Buy stuff there, move to the attack area and carry out the attack. The unknown unknowns are not an intel failure.
So you know what, I was listening to some of the things. One of the things that how these people are managing it is that there are drop-offs. So they don't even use cell phones for dropping off stuff like food or bread or anything. So what they do is they tell this is a tree in this particular area, and the person is supposed to drop off that, and then that is picked up and then taken to the next location. That is how paranoid and trained these people have become.
So, I doubt that very much, because that would require electronic communications, which would be picked up very rapidly. I don't think people realize how good our electronic surveillance in Kashmir has become. It is truly a sight to behold. Okay. So, no, I don't buy that. It is actually far easier. If I was a terrorist planning this, I would have actually had a Kashmiri friend along with me who would go to local markets, buy stuff, and avoid any kind of detection completely. It is easier, you know what they say, it is easier to hide a needle in a box of needles than it is in a haystack.
So the natural follow-up question is, could something like this happen without local support?
Yes, it absolutely could. It absolutely could. You know why? Because if somebody comes up, assume I'm running a restaurant, two guys walk into my restaurant. I don't know who they are. I serve them up. They pay me in money, they go. They pay me in cash, they go. Okay. So also remember, throughout the period of militancy, uh, my first revisit to I was in I lived in Kashmir pre-militancy. My first visit to militancy hit Kashmir was some 10-12 years back. I forget the exact dates now. Even then, we were told, that in the apple orchards and things like that, the army has told those people कि अगर terrorists तुम्हारे घर आए, if you can go out for a while, call us, but even that is dangerous. Because you know what will happen then? They'll know it is the guy who went out. If even one of them survives, they'll come back and kill the family. So what they used to say was provide them with all the hospitality that they need, but take payment for it. They used to take payment for it the moment those militants left. Because these are 20, 30 acre orchards. There'll be one house out there, so you can't scream for help or anything. So what you would then do is move. The moment the militant left, you would then make the call to the local army commander, क्योंकि उधर mobile phone चलता नहीं था. You had to go to a landline and make the call and say, 3 militants, these were their names, they left at so and so time, they're headed here. The standard instructions were talk to them, try to find out how much they know. And they would take money from the militants, and then the army, if they caught them, would also give these guys money. Okay. Understand, you do not get a 2-year lifespan for militants down to a few months by the time Article 370 was abrogated, down to literally a few weeks, if not a few days now, without local cooperation. So understand, there are also lots of locals cooperating with you.
All right. So one last question about this point being raised, that this is no normal thing. This is 400 kilometers inside, etc., etc. What is that a legit argument in your opinion, or that's just a red herring being raised because people need to divert from the real issue?
So legitimate targets, that's a very loaded term. No officer on holiday is a legitimate target. An officer can only be or any military person can only be a legitimate target when they're in uniform. If they're not in uniform, they cease to be a legitimate target. Full stop. There is no if or but. It's very clear. You read the Geneva Conventions and things like that, you cannot kill people who are not in uniform or armed. In this case, they were neither. It's still an act of terrorism. So you understand, I have a very different take on Pulwama, for example, because they were in uniform. These guys were not in uniform.
But do you think them being present there created an extra level of threat? Because at the end of the
I
day,
don't know if it created an extra level of threat, but it certainly created an extra level of security breach, I think. I may be totally wrong on this, because the average tendency of an Indian babu is to flash their official credentials and say, साले जानता है मेरा बाप कौन है, जानता है मैं कौन हूँ, मेरे को ये दे, मेरे को वो दे. And that's very problematic. Okay.
no, sorry, go ahead. No,
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
I suspect, though, that may not have been the case unless they'd used their IDs while booking their rooms and booking their tours, because the closest hotels are about a 40-minute drive away. There was no way the hotels could have known unless the hotels and the taxi drivers were coordinating to know that these guys would be here in this. It is 40 minutes. It's 40 minutes away from the nearest hotel. That drive alone. There is no hotels in that particular area. Okay. So camping grounds, yes, but not hotels. So you couldn't have gotten there unless the taxi driver and the hotel manager were talking to each other, which will come out in the investigation. We'll know who called who because all the call records will be analyzed and things like that, right? Because remember, and we know we will get to this, we know if it has happened, we will get to the bottom of it. Because in Kashmir, prepaid mobiles do not function. It is only postpaid SIMs that work in Kashmir. And they have to be with registered users.
Okay, now in terms of the response, obviously we are all waiting for the CCS to finish, uh, and whatever the press conference is going to come. I don't know. I have no clue when the press conference is going to happen. I'm assuming it will be some around 9:30. Um, Now let's talk about, because you've tweeted detailed May about the responses also. I don't want to share my views. Let's first talk about what you have in mind, and let's then we will take it into the larger India versus Islamism issue, because I think we just can't have this discussion anymore without having Pakistan, Bangladesh, and this internal Islamist problem we have in India too. Um, so so what are the possible, okay, a full blown war, everybody knows is not going to happen. It's not on the table. That's not a that's just what's not going to happen is not going to happen, no matter what muscle flexing people do on Twitter. It doesn't happen. The world doesn't function like that. But so what is an appropriate response in such a scenario? Well, we did Balakot. So now why is a Balakot like response A not appropriate again? And what is an increased response in
Hmm.
this case?
Look, it's totally appropriate, actually, if you look at it. The thing is, you have to target military installations this time. It has to be visible. Because, a sin in private is no sin, as the saying goes. Uh, उनका ना पब्लिक में नाक रगड़ना चाहिए. Otherwise, they don't accept it. For Pakistan, you have to have a surrender ceremony like 1971. Otherwise, they always claim victory. Even today, when you go to Pakistan or meet Pakistani Israeli, they'll tell you, sure, we lost in the eastern sector, but in the western sector, we won. They actually believe this. So, you have to break that. Deterrence comes when you break that surety that they've won. For that, you need to do two things. First, there needs to be a spectacular military target, which is undeniable. It can't be hidden in a forest in the middle of nowhere like Balakot. It has to be in some kind of a city, say ISI headquarters in Muzaffarabad, or regional headquarters in Muzaffarabad, or ISI main headquarters in Rawalpindi or something like that, number one. And number two, you have to ensure that anything like Swift retort, what Pakistan pulled off the next day, uh, you don't lose any aircraft, and you're able to thwart it. Nothing on your side gets bombed or shot down. No more Captain Abhinandan Vartman kind of this thing. You've also got the capability to do it. 6 years back, we didn't have the capability. Now we have all 36 Rafales. They have missiles which can, first of all, shoot from hundreds of kilometers inside Indian territory and target hundreds of kilometers inside Pakistani territory, number one, while transmitting the video link of that attack back live to the aircraft, number one. And number two, those same aircraft also carry the Meteor missiles, which can deter a F-16 from 200-250 kilometers away. You can shoot them down even before you appear on their radar, even their F-16s. So today we have capabilities that we did not have
Hmm. Just one question on this. So, okay, I understand what you're saying. We have much better technology now in terms of aircraft, in terms of technology, in terms of even overall, reconnaissance missions and stuff like that. Uh, But how do we guarantee we don't have an Abhinandan like scenario? Like how? Like I did not understand that part.
Okay. You don't get into within visual range air combat, because within visual range air combat, so this is very simple. Have you seen that famous Indiana Jones shot in the Raiders of the Lost Ark? In the market in Cairo, Indy and his girlfriend are there, and this big burly Arab giant comes and he does all these funky kung fu tricks with his sword, and all that Indy does is take out his gun and shoots him right there, and there's no fight. So this is beyond visual range versus within visual range. Within visual range is like a sword fight where individual skills matter. Beyond visual range removes individual skill. It is entirely up to the superiority of technology. So beyond visual range, where you're shooting down their aircraft from hundreds of kilometers away, is a much more sure shot guarantee of not losing your aircraft than getting into a sword fight. So even if you take old combat, you are less likely to get killed when you're using arrows and spears than when you're using a sword, as long as your spear throws and your arrows outrange the other guy. Why do you think Western air combat has moved to such low attrition figures? You look at Israel's attacks on Iran, Lebanon, Syria, Gaza. They haven't lost a single aircraft. Why? Because they're able to hit from a great distance away very accurately, as opposed to the massive Russian and Ukrainian losses, because they don't have those kind of smart weapons and they have to go in much, much closer, which puts you in firing range. Right? It's a classic case of Prithviraj and the Second Battle of Tarain, where they went on raining down arrows on us, and it took a very, very heavy toll on us. And we were mostly infantry guys who were getting slaughtered. Every time we would break shield cover and attack them, they would hit us with arrows, and that kind of decimated our lines. So you have to outrange people and depend on technology, because the moment you get close, you remove technology from the equation. America can completely control Iraq from the air, but when you do ground control, American troops start dying from improvised explosive devices or RPGs or things like that fired at their things. That is the only way, in my opinion, or long range naval strikes, for example, where you can do this.
Okay, got that. I just So how do we? Okay, so what I am understanding is what you're trying to say is, and what a lot of people are saying is that last time what we did was we kind of hit the jihadi target in Balakot, where their terror training camps and stuff like that is concerned. So the psychology of Pakistan is you can kill a million jihadis, we just
Yeah,
keep reproducing them. They don't care.
but
Pakistan
you
cares when you
remember,
kill their soldiers.
when we had that, when we did a podcast after that, I told you that even killing soldiers won't matter, because soldiers and jihadis are completely disposable commodities. Jihadis are more disposable than soldiers, but the average soldier is totally disposable. You know what is not disposable? Officer, brigadier and above, ISI commander and above. That is why, and that is the statement Rajnath has made today, that we're not going to go after the people who, we're not only going to go after the people who perpetrated this attack, but we're also going to go after people who pulled the strings. Okay, you have to do it at that level. Left to me, I would say target Asim Munir's house, his wife and kids, target the 11 corps commanders and their wives and kids. And
Completely
then
agree
claim
with you.
it's against the rules of war, but then just say, well, it was a time sensitive target. We have intelligence and they were collateral.
But okay, now, okay, so one thing is for sure, I think it's very clear that whether it's the prime minister, whether it's the defense minister, I've not heard anything from the home minister, because I think he was just busy doing the entire analysis and what is happening there. First of all, I think I don't know what your view is. I think it was good that the home minister met the families. Would the families have
It took
yelled
a
at
lot
him?
of guts. It took a lot of guts to do
I'm
that,
glad he did. I'm glad
and
he
I'm
did.
glad.
Yeah, I think that is that is good. And I think a hard man like Amit Shah, who has this image of a very hardliner, who has no heart, going there, standing, I think that was a good thing. But now let's get into the other stuff. Okay, so the military strike, I know we are going to strike. It's just that the element of surprise has to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, is also pretty certain. We're going to hit them
See, the
probably in the
time
next two
being
weeks.
taken, the time being taken for the attack is in logistics. It is first, there were three meetings today. The moment the Prime Minister landed at the airport, the second was a small cabinet meeting at 11 a.m., and then a meeting of the bigger cabinet at 6 p.m., where the military chiefs, which got postponed to 7 or 8 p.m., which the military chiefs were asked to come up with their plans. Now, from the plans, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet Committee on Security will down select. Once they have decided that plan, they will go to international allies and tell them, listen, we're going to take action. We're not going to tell you what action we're going to take, but these are roughly going to be the kind of people we're going to target. This is how it's going to last. It is building that international support that will take time. There will be people who we will not tell, for example, the Chinese, because we don't trust them. And we will depend on the Americans or the French or the Russians to inform the Chinese when the attacks are underway, and task them with seeing to it that, well, what can China realistically do? They introduce a resolution. The other four countries, Britain, France, Russia, and America, will veto it. So, there will be some information given to the Chinese when the attack happens, but that week, 2 weeks, whatever it takes to attack, the intel is already there. We're going to take the time to see to it, sensitize all our friends, the Saudis, the Emiratis, some European countries, Giorgia Meloni almost certainly, to see to it that we have the international support when it happens.
How important are the Americans in this? Let's be very
Extremely
clear.
important.
2 3 points. 2 3 points. तेरे को याद होगा मैंने तेरे को कल ही SMS किया था. JD Vance's first tweet is very interesting. He used the words Pahalgam, India. Now coming from the Vice President, Pahalgam, India, it's pretty clear they have accepted the inevitable. This is India.
No, but that's
They're going to do
always,
what they're going to.
this isn't, they never say disputed Kashmir. They've always said, you go back in time, unfortunately, tweets aren't available, but the statements are available. For the last 15, 20 years, they've been saying India. So there's nothing new about it. Now, the Americans, had it been pre-Trump, we only have to inform the Americans, and the Americans would do the rest for us and squeeze all the other allies. Now, because there's a diversion between Europe and America, we'll inform the Americans, we'll inform the French. The French will do the subsidiary work for us within Europe, because they're in that gung-ho Ukraine coalition, and that's what's going to happen. Now, remember, there will be people who will condemn us. Most probably, Turkey will condemn us, Qatar will condemn us, China. But this is like, when 370 was abrogated. Even Qatar didn't condemn it. Even Turkey didn't condemn it as harshly as we thought they would. Ayatollah Khamenei put out 1 or 2 tweets, and that was it. Now, what do you expect? Why is this too optimistic? You saw this during Article 370. Did you see any support for these guys during the Waqf, whatever? No. Nothing. They're on your side. It's almost foregone conclusion.
How important is this 4-year Trump window for us to do a lot of things?
Look, like I said, we need to have started deportation of Bangladeshis the moment Trump came to power, because he opened the legal boundaries on that, at least as far as international law goes. We didn't. Then God gave you Justice Verma's cash stash. where the last obstacle, which was your own courts, uh, uh, that was the only last obstacle. You could have dealt with it. You probably are going to deal with it. I asked Nishikant Dubey why he isn't using his parliamentary power to summon the judges for contempt of court. And apparently, there is movement within a lot of parliamentarians to use that parliamentary power and summon the two-judge bench that passed the TN judgment for contempt of parliament, not contempt of court. Sorry, contempt of parliament. And by the way, contempt of parliament's contempt powers are supreme. You can't overrule them. You can call a court, you can call a judge. You don't have to impeach the judge. You can literally send them to jail for up to a year. Hard labor, solitary confinement, whatever, for up to a year. Courts can't overrule. If they overrule, you can take in those judges also for contempt.
What
So
about the other?
always a backdoor. You may not have impeachment, but you have the power to jail a judge for a year.
Okay, now we've looked at the diplomatic bit. What about the other tools that we have in our arsenal? Forget the Indus Water Treaty. I know your views on that, but why do we have Pakistani mission in India and an Indian mission in Pakistan? Why do we let the trade happen through the Dubai route? I know this will people might laugh at me, but geo block all Pakistani YouTube channels in India.
I agree. I agree about trade through, not trade through Dubai, but about Pakistani diplomatic presence here and Indian diplomatic presence there. I think we should snap off ties. The trade is different because it's very important in the forensic accounting that the Emiratis do. They're very good at it, by the way, the forensic intel, financial intel, at figuring out the Hawala sources in funding our own covert operations in Pakistan and things like that. We need that route to remain open. What is a tool for them is also a tool for us. And because the UAE is on our side, we actually have the upper hand in that tool. You don't destroy a tool where you have the upper hand. This is literally like saying, okay, because the Rafale gives us an unfair advantage, we won't use the Rafale in combat. It will only be MiG-29 against your F-16. That's the financial equivalent of doing that. So the question here is, if you use such a big step for something like this, you run out of options very quickly when real escalations happen. Okay, for example, America now, short of military force, can't do anything to Iran or North Korea or Russia, because they've exhausted all the toolkits at their disposal. Russia more so than North Korea or Iran even. They've exhausted all the tools. There is no more tool left to intimidate the Russians with, short of a military engagement. Right? So you don't do that. When you're confronting a gangster, you don't pull out all your guns and let him see what you have in the first this thing. You grade it. It is systematic. It is slow. Basically, never start a fight unless you're sure you can win it. And never get into a fight without knowing what the other side is capable of. Swiss Army knife. Always Swiss Army knife.
All right, but what about the YouTubers? Do you think we should geo-block them all?
No karo. Haramzade hamare pe paisa banate hain. Half these Indians don't realize that these fuckers are only making nice videos about India because they get monetized much better. The average Indian disposable income is higher than the Pakistani disposable income. So when Indians watch it, per Indian watching, you get 3-4 times what the average Pakistani watching does. And Indians, of course, are crazy. Anytime somebody says something good about them, they're like, "Isne acha bol diya, ye hero hai," and they'll go listen to him or her and give them money. This is a money-making scam. Don't fall for it. I do believe all Pakistani YouTube channels need to be geo-blocked in India. Yes, except the cooking channels. वो मैं देखता हूँ.
No, you can watch it using VPN. Big deal. I think all the advantage of all of.
Coming to talk about that, you know what is better? We should tell YouTube. TikTok to India mein nahi hai, we've banned it. But YouTube and Twitter and whatever, that no Indian view can be monetized in Pakistan. See?
That is so evil.
And it can't show up in the view count. So they neither get views to claim that they're a much watched channel, and they don't get any money. And you can do that, by the way. You can absolutely do that.
I think both of us need to write a letter to the ministry then.
Yeah.
We should write a letter and we should make it public. अपने आप मिनिस्ट्री के ऊपर प्रेशर जाएगा, अपना लेटर पब्लिक कर देते हैं. Man, it's crazy. All right. Other than that, what was that? I think this is. But now I want to pivot to this larger thing. Okay. Now my views on Bangladesh. I don't know. People may not agree. Like, I think where at least now after Pahalgam, can Indians realize that we need to fix Bangladesh because there we have much more leverage and many more options? Why the hell does the Indian establishment have this soft corner for Bangladesh? Why? What? Sheikh Hasina is gone now. What the hell? Who cares?
Yeah. So you had several things happen in sharp succession. You couldn't deport Bangladeshis because Sheikh Hasina was in power. She was a friend. That problem is no longer there. Second, you didn't want to tank relations that the government of Bangladesh is doing all by itself. Third, you were scared because you had Biden administration that is also gone. You have Trump who's doing that with everybody else. So the legal precedent is set. You will get international support for doing it. Well, when we say international support, you really mean American support, which is all the support you really need. Okay. Fourth is the Supreme Court. जब भगवान ने तुमको वर्मा के घर 86 करोड़ दे रखा है, क्या कर रहे हो? Let's see. I hear NJAC is coming back. I hear they are going to do something. Let us wait. Let us see. The one thing I know about Modi after 10 years is he delivers on his promises. You can't micromanage when he does it, but he does it. 370 निकाला ना, काशी मथुरा पे एक्शन हो रहा है ना, ये राम मंदिर बन गया ना. So it's going to happen. There are things we don't know, I'm sure, but I'm sure it will be done. I'm sure the Supreme Court will be reined in. That is the last piece in the jigsaw puzzle. Now, what is to be done with Bangladesh? Again, remember Swiss Army knife. You can't use a maximal, your maximal response can't be your first response. Swiss Army knife. Think about it. We destroyed their textile industry, or in the process of destroying their textile and ceramic industry. Textiles is 80% of their exports. You destroy that, you destroy Bangladesh. You stop supplying them with power in case there is more egregious violations. You've already cut off their transshipment facility. Transshipment direct, do you know it is cheaper for Bangladeshi products to come to Calcutta and be shipped out than it is for them to go to Dhaka port or Chittagong port and get shipped out. Amazingly so. So we've increased costs on them. Where our deal, as per JD Vance's press statement, the deal with America is almost done, in which case you will have significantly lower textile. But even without that, even with 26% tariffs on textiles, Bangladesh gets a 36% tariff. China and Vietnam get Vietnam gets a 46% tariff, and because China isn't cooperating, they're now at 146% tariff. Even the losses that you have, this huge new market opens up for you, which is now suddenly price competitive, in spite of all your stupid land laws and labor laws and minimum wage and all that nonsense. Okay. So it's good for us. It's good for us. I told you before, Kushal, you don't have to do anything with this government. This government is full of parvenus who are going to destroy themselves. They have not been in government before. They don't know how to run a government. They are making jackasses of themselves. That country is spiraling out of control. They've already pissed off the army. It is only a matter of time before the army takes over. And I strongly suspect the Yunus family will meet the same fate that the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman family did.
What about the crore plus Hindus in Bangladesh? Also, I mean, at the end of the day, the problem is where they are located. Also in Bangladesh, they are far down, like they are in the lower area, not in
They're
the
in the
upper
urban
area.
areas. They're very
Yeah.
urban. Okay, they're not rural. Now, what happens out there is first we need to recognize the fact that the high level persecutions when the so-called when this coup happened is now low level persecutions. There are incidents every day, but they are low level. It isn't as high level as we saw 6-7 months back. Okay. Uh, Again, what do you want to do? Do you want to do a humanitarian intervention out there and fight a riverine warfare? Bangladesh is the exact same terrain and riverine kind of wars that the Americans were fighting in Vietnam. Do you really want to do that?
Why is that country still a country?
It's better that it's a country. I certainly don't want those 160 million being part of India. Imagine 160 million Muslims joining India. What will that will do to our electoral equations? Do you want that?
No, no, मैं तो सिर्फ minorities की बात कर रहा था और किसी की नहीं.
So it's very good that it remains a nation. The problem is we have 20-30 million Bangladeshis here, 2-3 crore Bangladeshis here whom we need to be deporting back.
मैं तो वही कह रहा हूँ ना, वो हिंदू ले लो और ये वापस भेज दो, काम हो गया ना.
Maybe
और
the
तोड़ो
Hindus don't
उनका
want
थोड़ा लैंड.
you can't force them to come back. If they don't want to come back, they don't want to come back. Okay, there's nothing you can do about it. There's lots of Bengali Muslims, West Bengali Muslims, actual West Bengali, not Bangladeshis, who also may not want to go. You can't force them to go. They're Indian citizens. The illegal ones, you can absolutely force them to go, kick them out. What do you do when they've intermarried? Because even as per your own law, they are then allowed to settle down in India. फिर क्या करोगे?
No voting rights.
Well, you can't do that. Then you're violating your own laws.
Where you change the
So
laws, it's very
understand, the
simple.
path to everything is the Supreme Court. Be it the judicial overreach in Tamil Nadu, be it the Waqf Act being put on hold, CA NRC on hold, not being deported, the farm laws not being implemented, everything goes back to the Supreme Court. Nishikant Dubey basically said what every Indian felt. I'm so proud of Nishikant Dubey having said that. The man is a really good guy, as is Jagdeep Dhankar.
Press conference is at 9:15, Abhijit. So let's try to wrap up before the press conference.
Yeah.
I just saw the tweet. MEA is going to do a press conference at 9:15. The CCS meeting just ended. So one last question. What do we do to tackle Islamism in India? Whether we like it or not, whether it's Murshidabad, whether it's a lot of these things, it's a mindset. How do we tackle Islamism in India?
Very simple. The rule of law and police reforms. You are under policed, you don't have clear police engagement guidelines, and you have complete bureaucratic impunity. You put a voice record video cam on every single policeman and every single bureaucrat and bring about sacking clauses for non-performance, dereliction of duty, partisanship, and things like that. In most cases, the police don't respond with gunfire because they're shit scared and they will most probably get scapegoated, which is true. They do get scapegoated mostly. You need to have strict rules of engagement. You need clear standards and procedures. Do you know when you are stopped by a traffic cop, there is absolutely no rule requiring them to identify themselves? Nikhil then said,
Forget
"Nahi, nahi,
that.
rule hai." Nikhil said, "Rule hai." I said, "Nikal bhai rule." It's been 6 months. He still hasn't been able to find the rule for me.
अरे वो छोड़, बॉडी कैमराज नहीं होते यार उनके. कॉप तुम्हारे
And
साथ बिहेव कैसे कर रहा है?
do you know the biggest opposition to body cameras comes from cops themselves.
Obviously.
Yeah.
ऐसे करके मारते हैं.
Yeah, the police academy, we are tied up with the police academy to do some seminar on police reforms. Higher ups ordered them to cancel the this thing, and surprisingly all the funders pulled out 3 weeks before the conference, saying, yeah, we got a call from the police chiefs in Delhi saying us don't sponsor this.
Yeah. By the way,
Understand the
Jordan
police.
has banned all Muslim Brotherhood activities and closing down all its offices effective immediately. Jordan Ministry of Interior.
Excellent. I don't know why they do that, because the Muslim Brotherhood is the king's loyal opposition in Jordan. Jordan is the only country that has managed to successfully tame the Muslim Brotherhood. But let's see. So,
Anyways, chalo.
there are
Bol.
very easy ways. What is Muslim power in India? It's the bloody street veto where they go out, burn things, kill people, rape people. How do you do that? Police reforms, judicial reforms, bureaucratic reforms. And all it is say that these are sentencing guidelines. You can't deviate from them. You can't come up with different jurisprudence is jurisprudence, follow it. You can't sit and change it, go bench shopping and things like that. Remove their ability for variability. Okay. Second, make the judges accountable. Same with the police. Body cams, but also to protect the cops, you need crystal clear standards and procedures. When is it okay to use a gun? You need to have certification courses for human rights training, lethality training, force training, things like that, where you sign off, and after that, if you make a mistake, it is on you. And third, bureaucrats.
I think you have to modernize the Muslim society, yaar. Without that, you can't. You have to forcefully modernize.
You can't do that. In a pre-industrial country like India, you can't do that. Let's be very clear. Saudi Arabia can do that because they've got a lot of money. At $2,900, Kushal, let's be very clear, you're not modernizing diddly squat. You can't even get the people of Jammu to bloody clean their bloody open nala of a city. Are you going to change Muslims? Are you kidding me? The bloody BJP headquarters in Jammu is near a nala which I've named after Situ Kohli's father. It's now called the Janakraj Gupta Nala. BJP headquarters is 100 meters away from a great open nala where MLAs and things live facing the nala, which reeks of shit and whatnot. Are you kidding me? You can't even bring about hygiene in Hindus, where our religion is obsessed with hygiene. And you're going to get Muslims to modernize. Kya ganja phuk raha hai? No. When you can't do carrots, you do stick. Modi has tried the carrot. You were given toilets. You were given electricity. You were given more educational funds than you've ever been given in the last 70 years. Natija kya tha? Kuch nahi. Ab carrots ka time gaya, take out the stick.
Okay, now let's take the questions and we'll wrap up because the press conference is very important. I also want to watch it. Do you think India at 12 trillion will have less of these tensions? Obviously, the richer we are, more resourceful we are.
But again, without police reforms, judicial reforms, and bureaucratic reforms, no.
Okay. With the kind of IAF depleting strength, what options really do we have with fighter jets? Rafale is costly and HAL is lazy. No Tejas is signed.
Very good question. Ask HAL. We have very few options realistically.
Yeah, we have already dealt with this in detail last time you and I spoke.
Yeah. So go look at that podcast of ours.
I think this question is, can India afford an escalating war?
Yes, you can.
I think today, if anybody says we can't do it now at this stage, then yaar chullu bhar pani mein doob maro salo.
Exactly. This is probably the best time in 40, 50 years you've had this kind of a power differential, especially with regards to economics and international situation.
Mm. Well, I feel very sorry. Sahil says, I can't stop crying. My friend's father died in this. Well, Sahil, very sorry for your loss. Given that the Modi government was very much invested in the peace process, the Kashmiri radicalized youth brought it upon themselves. What will force the ordinary Kashmiris to de radicalize of their own free will?
How do you know this was Kashmiri youth bringing it down on themselves?
Yeah. I mean, they were speaking Punjabi from what I have heard.
Yeah,
Kashmiri speak Punjabi or what now?
exactly. So, it may not be. And de-radicalization, देखो कुछ radical तो हमेशा बचेंगे. Okay, there's nothing you can do about it. The question is, do they have the opportunity to become violent or not? Which they really don't have. If they get violent, their lifespan is something like a few weeks at best.
Okay. Why is Pierre Poilievre's statement so calculated that it avoids mentioning India?
One second, one second, one second. Arvind DK, two of the terrorists killed on the spot. This news is not there. What do you mean the news is not there? The photographs are
It
out
was
there.
there.
The
Yeah. The
photographs are there.
photographs are out there. Yeah. क्या बोल रहे हो
Ab
यार?
Akhil.
Pierre's statement so calculated that it avoids even mentioning India when talking about JNK. यार, I mean, यार, मेरे मुंह से गाली निकलेगी अभी. I just don't want to
Look,
say anything.
let's just be happy that Pierre Poilievre is losing the elections, shall we?
Seriously, I mean, just fucking hell. I'm just so pissed off. Like, just don't want to talk about that guy. Why are people saying JNK elections was a bad idea? I just don't understand. What's the point? What's the point? We should separate that. Jammu should be a separate state and just fucking end this farce. I just don't understand. That's my view.
Yeah.
Do you think Pakistan wants India to take action so that they can divert from internal issues? Should India wait and take better action?
No. See, there are two things Pakistan wants. One is they want to divert, yes, but this isn't going to be a diversion. They are still in that old playbook where they think an Indian attack is going to be a diversion. If they're agar unka naak ragdoge usme, it will become an even bigger problem for them. Think General Galtieri and the Falklands. He thought he was going to win that, and it was going to be a great little diversion for him. Margaret Thatcher crushed him, and his government fell immediately after that. Okay, it's like Yahya Khan. Look what happened to him. So it buys them a year, maybe 2 years later. The second is more important, which is they want to force you to boycott Kashmiri tourism. That's the last thing you should be doing. I have decided I am going to go to Kashmir in the next few days because there's no point sitting and tweeting about it. I can't ask you to put yourselves in danger when I'm not willing to do it. So I'm going to be going to Kashmir in the next few days. As soon as I find a hotel which is within my budget, because the hotels now are insanely expensive. But I suspect if I go on Ease My Trip now, I think I will get a good deal on a 5-star hotel, and I am going to go there just to show you that that is the last thing you should be doing right now. Please don't fall for that
Yeah.
trap. The last thing
Yeah.
you
Okay.
want is for them to go back to the cocaine dealer, which is called the conflict economy. You do not want that.
Yeah. Okay. Why would the IPL be? Are Baba, why do you want to cripple your own economy? That's what Pakistan wants. Like, when will you guys get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for fuck's sake. Abhi dekho mere muh se gaaliyan
Out,
nikalwa rahe.
out the Pakistanis from the IPL. Anyway, there are no Pakistanis in IPL. No.
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man? We have to function like a normal society. यार गुस्सा
Yes.
दिलाते हैं यार लोग. Seriously. What would be a realistic military response? I mean, we've already answered this, so we don't need to take it. We've kind of done. Uh, okay, that next one is pointless. Oh, it's not a question; it's a comment. Is it a viable option to bump off senior army personnel in Pakistan to strike back? What can be done? I mean, I think Abhijit is 100% right. This is my view. You have to hit higher targets, because when you up the ante without going in a full-blown war, Pakistan will be like, what the fuck do we do now? They basically don't care.
Let me give you 3 options that are, in my opinion, proportionate and valid right now. ISI regional headquarters in Muzaffarabad, ISI regional headquarters, Chief Muzaffarabad's house. 3, the operations command center somewhere in Muzaffarabad or anywhere in Pakistan. If you Pakistan believes that you should only attack them in Kashmir if they attack in Kashmir. I say no. Balakot was attacking Pakistan proper. Hit the Punjab, hit the Lahore headquarters of ISI. Do it. Or bomb this man. What are these two guys? They're all, these names sound the same. Yeah. Who are the two guys? Yeah, Masood Azhar and who's the other one?
Hafiz Said.
Bomb their institutions wherever they are. 100-200 लोग मरेंगे, मरने दो हरामजादों को. अभी फ्राइडे आ रहा है, जुम्मा का प्रेयर होगा. When they lead the Jummah prayer, bomb it.
The current IFF between aircraft is a digital handshake that verifies encrypted codes. So S-400 won't shoot down Rafales. So what is Abhijit talking about?
You saw what happened the last time Balakot happened? Do you remember what happened in Balakot? The biggest casualty wasn't your captain Abhinandan Varthaman. It was you shooting down your own helicopter. तब भी IFF था ना? IFF ने क्या किया? Are you stupid? Go read up on it na, before you ask dumb questions. Your IFF doesn't work, bro. Your IFF is a failure. And understand,
Okay, is
it
it
isn't
possible?
just the IFF. It is all the detection, removing it from the attack matrix and things like that. Do you even know how a radar works? Just go to search a YouTube video on how a radar works. You then have to, it is not just identification, it is removing those planes from the attack matrix completely. And the IFF doesn't do it automatically because you don't have the deep integration of the IFF, neither with the S-400 nor with the Rafale.
Is it possible that the spot was considered in the planning for attack as it was isolated place and maybe there are more spots which are next targets?
Yes,
Who knows about
it takes. If you go see that video that was put up on YouTube 6 days back, which I've tweeted out in my thread, it takes about 30-40 minutes for you to get from a motorable road to that area by car. They were counting on the fact that they will have time because anywhere else the security response would have been much quicker.
Are the Pakistanis trying to provoke bait a reaction to galvanize their population and distract from the anger of the at the army? Will a loud jingoistic response from us be what they want? Also, you've lost weight. Looks good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what we discussed. Are they trying to divert? Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
They're doing it in a very stupid way. They're doing cut, copy, paste. They've not done the adaptation and variations on a theme that go with this.
Okay, what explains the absence of security personnel? Yeah, matlab, I think
We just discussed this in detail. There was no absence of security personnel, bro.
You can't have every inch by a guard, yeah. You
Yeah,
can't.
it is physically impossible. Our
You can't.
reaction time was spectacular.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
be
just
very
looking
clear
at
about
questions. I'm just looking at questions. जो जो पूछने हैं क्योंकि अब काफी कमेंट्स हैं वो मैं इग्नोर कर रहा हूँ. Okay, lot of them are similar. इसके लिए मैं पूछ नहीं रहा हूँ. Is there a possibility of a full out war? Like a full blown war?
Yes, mostly because we don't do our escalation calculations properly. We never do a hostile estimation and a realistic wargaming. The generals decide what the Pakistani response is going to be, and they think that is what the Pakistani response is, which is why we went prepared for swift retort when it happened the day after Bala. So that is, and you have to prepare for it, obviously.
Is our PM as capable as the Israeli PM when it comes to terrorism? Yeah, the Israeli PM sat on the biggest massacre of the Jews. Just, I mean, what are you guys talking about? Yeah, like October 7th, that those bastards got away with 1,000+ murders.
Yeah, but look, there was a lot more to it as well. He was also very decorated elite for this thing commander. And that was an overall security apparatus failure. It wasn't just a prime ministerial failure there. Huh? So I don't believe in these is better than or worse. These are very childish comparisons.
I know. I also agree with you.
It is very contextual. It is very dependent. Look, Israel hasn't been we can celebrate the fact that Israel carried out a strike on Hezbollah, which India can't even dream about. Okay, the pager attack. But you tell me, have the Israelis been able to end the Palestinian insurgency either in Gaza or in the West Bank or in Lebanon or in Syria? No. How many insurgencies have we suppressed? We've suppressed the Naxalites. We've suppressed the Punjab insurgency. Yeah, how do I turn off reactions? Yeah, we've suppressed the Punjab insurgency. We've suppressed the Kashmir insurgency. We finished off the Assam insurgency. Different measures of success, bro. Did we lose a lot more people doing it? Yeah. So don't discount us also. We may not do it in a sexy way, but maybe if you marry a sexy lady, she can give you 1 or 2 kids. But dharma raksha karna hai, maybe the not so pretty lady with very big hips and big paunch will give you 20, 30 kids.
What's stopping us from opening a Balochistan embassy, have a government in exile, and also armed support? Can we? I mean,
You can.
we should
Well,
now. Now we have the excuse.
again, Swiss Army knife.
Hmm.
Don't use everything for everything. Okay.
Is there a scenario where Pakistan can get sanctioned in the future?
And just one thing, the whole international jurisprudence, it comes from something called the Louisiana Judgment. So the general jurisprudence in international relations now is once you have accepted the accession of a country to another, you can't go back on it. America never recognized the accession of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania to the USSR, which is why throughout the Cold War, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania had an embassy in America. Did you know that? You, like idiots, recognize the accession of Tibet to China. You recognize the accession of Balochistan to Pakistan. Now you can't go back.
Holy shit! Indus Water Treaty suspended by India.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Holy shit!
Who posted it?
Anand.
Captain Abundance. Okay. Which doesn't actually mean anything right now because you can't divert the waters. Now you don't have the ability to divert the waters.
Oh, but bhai, this is a big escalation. Now we're getting serious. This is a big escalation. Okay,
It is a big
what is the way
escalation.
to de-escalate if it goes full blown?
Well, you hope for the international community to put pressure, which is the Pakistani playbook.
I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm just looking. Okay, good question. What is the difference between a militant and a terrorist?
A militant is a violent person who doesn't go around killing civilians. The moment the rules of war are breached and you start killing civilians, you become a terrorist.
Okay. Will India need US intel and support, and will
And
they
both
grant
are
it?
non-state. So both are non-state. A principled non-state violent person is a militant. A unprincipled non-state violent person is a terrorist.
So, will we need US intel support? Baki sab nahi hai, intel support.
Not that much. We have
I
very
think
good intel.
do people realize our intelligence capacity in this region is far more superior to America? Like, do you think Indians realize that?
Who? What?
Do Indians realize our intel network in this subcontinental region is far better than America?
It actually is. And you know why? Because it is old school human based intel. It doesn't
Yeah,
depend so much on electronics and shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't spy on the German Chancellor's office like the Americans did. That was so fuck all. Americans are so bad. Sala. Uh, Why can't we fund more and more BLA in response to this? Do it outright. अरे भाई, become a bigger economy, automatically these things will happen. तुम लोग
Mhm.
बड़ी economy नहीं बनते हो. You know, like one comment I have to make. At least now, can we just fucking give Trump whatever he wants in the trade and just
Yeah.
take his entire port, like just once. एक बार अपनी economy को बड़ा कर दो, फिर इन सबको मारो जाके, जो करना है करो.
यार वो करेंगे नहीं ना, हम चूतिए हैं.
चूती है, हमारे बाबू चूती हैं.
हाँ.
रुक जा, मेरे को और देखने दे, और कुछ है क्या. ओके. व्हाट शुड व्हाट शुड बी आवर एक्शन, वो तो ठीक है, वो हो गया. व्हाट शुड द ऑपोजिशन डू दिस टाइम? एंड रॉबर्ट वाड्रा, या रॉबर्ट वाड्रा को छोड़ दो, ही शुड
Robert
बी इग्नोर्ड, बट व्हाट.
the opposition stands the best chance of not questioning the government at this time. You know what happened after Bombay? The BJP was said to win all three elections. They lost it because they criticized the government.
Yeah,
And
boss.
Shivraj Patil was asked to resign because he couldn't handle the media. He went on goofing up on screen, and he went on changing his bloody bandgalas.
So, can I just take this opportunity to appreciate Priyanka Chaturvedi, who thinks I always criticize her? I think her responses were very mature, very,
Yeah.
very mature. Shama Mohammed, very good. Like, I'm just, opposition hai. Mature responses the. Acha, ye अच्छा था. Can we use the international sanctions or route? Can we manage it?
No, very difficult. It requires too much because it's something that can get vetoed in the Security Council. Right? And sanctions have to be UN sanctions. Otherwise, nobody follows them.
Oh, fuck. This is the most sensitive question. How do we do about people in our own community that don't believe in Islamist terrorism? Did
I
you
would
see
say
Ashutosh's tweet? Like,
no.
what the? अरे वो क्या पागल आदमी है. आप ये
What
हिंदू मुस्लिम करना बंद करो. अरे भाई, they pull the pants down to check.
hands down, yaar.
What the fuck,
So,
yeah?
what was that question again? Bring it up.
What
Our
do
own
we do
community.
with our own community?
With
हमारे
them,
चूतिए हिंदू.
see, Utsav, you are a Brahman. You are an elevated soul. You are twice born. You are Janaudhari Brahman. And you are not an Ikvedi like me or a Trivedi. So you should have a very kind heart. You should be Sadbhavana full and non-violent full. Om Shanti Shanti Hi. And every one of you who is a Uchchasthariya Janaudhari Brahman should fund one-way tickets for all our community members who don't believe in jihadism to settle down in Syria.
Oh, by the way, further updates.
You think, Utsav, you
In
can manage a ticket?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, buy Ashutosh a ticket. Yeah.
So here, just a further update. Along with Indus Water, Atari border closed. Pakistani nationals under SARC visas cancelled, not allowed. 48 hours to leave India. Defense military personnel in Pakistani High Commission to be withdrawn. India will do the same. 5 support staff withdrawal in High Commission on both sides. Only 30 people allowed in the High Commission. So bare minimum diplomatic relations between India and Pakistan. ये है अभी तक की update.
Where are you reading this from?
स्मिता. just स्मिता का tweet पढ़ा मैंने.
Oh, 1 second. Let me just check.
I can put it up for you. Just wait. मैं तेरे लिए अभी screen पे डाल देता हूँ. Wait. I'll put it on the screen for you. Just give me 1 second and here you go. This is Smita's tweet. Yeah.
Very good, very good. What about the consulates in Bombay?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay. एक मिनट, मैं देख रहा हूँ. I'm just looking at the questions. Okay, this is a fair question. Instead of asking tourists to go, shouldn't the priority be encouraging permanent settlers to Kashmir?
भाई मैं कितनी बार बोले जा रहा हूँ. The real hero is our landless laborer in UP and Bihar. Get 20 million of them, distribute plots of land. Technically, as per Indian constitution, we don't have a right to property. Na? You're a socialistic country. Benchod इस्तेमाल करो ना. Confiscate land and give it to Bihari settlers. माई के लाल हैं वो, धर्म रक्षा करेंगे.
Okay. Do you
यूपी
think
बिहार
China
वाले
will slow?
को भेजो उधर, बंदूक दो, एक हाथ में बंदूक, दूसरे हाथ में कुल्हाड़ी.
Do you think China will slowly move away from the Pakistanis and stay out of any future fight now that the global economic situation is forcing everyone to share the same bed?
Yes and no. They've already moved a lot away from the Pakistanis. Today, when a Pakistani goes to China, they get no bhav at all. They're treated like dirt because the Chinese see them as promise breakers. They see them as duplicitous. They've come to the conclusion that America took 70 years to come to. Okay. That said, even if there is a slight possibility of trouble that Pakistan can create from India, China will maintain Pakistan for what little trouble it can do. It's just that massive favors will no longer happen.
Indus water revocation toothless, where is retribution? यार वो इतना आसानी से होगा नहीं ना यार, आप लोग
रुको
समझो
भाई,
यार,
रुको.
practical.
There is retribution. Listen. Let me make this very clear to you. Retribution is going to happen. I told you this is a Swiss Army knife. Okay, a Swiss Army knife has multiple knives in it. Just because you do one doesn't mean you're going to do the not going to do the other. Ruko, sabar karo.
Yeah. Okay. ये अच्छा question है. I want to take this. What should the diaspora do? It's a good question.
It's a very good question. Sure,
because they are a part of this story.
Look, Pakistani restaurants, sure, you can stop going there or whatever. The most important thing you can do is put your differences aside and build pressure groups. Don't just settle for photos with your legislators. They need to be giving you tangibles. The most important thing, especially if you live in Canada, is to stop going to this bastard Madhusudan Lama and the Paps Mandir and make it very clear to them that they are not in community.
Goel, दिखा दूं वो फोटो? दिखा दूं वो फोटो?
नहीं, tweet करके उस पे ये डाल. Don't put it up because memory recall नहीं होगा. Make a whole thread and tweet it out. I'll also tweet it out.
एक मिनट काम कर, तू अभी का अभी सिर्फ वो वाली फोटो डाल जो वो एक सिंगल वाली जिसमें ऐसे एरो एरो है, डाल. मैं अभी इधर पॉडकास्ट पे डालता हूँ, हजारों लोग देख रहे हैं.
कौन सा?
चल मैं डालता हूँ, रुक जा. मैं रुक जा. मैं एक वो फोटो है ना अभी डालता हूँ, रुक जा यार. लोगों को पता तो चले हिंदू मंदिर वाले की करन दे. देखिए पता चलना चाहिए पहचो ये लोग मतलब ऐसी वाहियात थर्ड क्लास घटिया कौम हमारी.
See, Smita has made a very important point. Emptying out the Pakistan High Commission is a significant move. If any overt action is on the cards in the coming weeks, there is no room for diplomatic channels. Pakistan has no way to complain. Extremely important. It is actually a sign that kinetic action is going to happen. हाँ, ये हरामजादा जो है ना, ये बाप स्वामीनारायण मंदिर का ये है ना?
नहीं ये बाप स्वामीनारायण नहीं. See, this is a mandir in Surrey. This man runs that temple. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing on your screen right now is this man is with none other than Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And if you think, oh, kya ek aisi photo hai? I have one more photo to show. This man literally knew these people. So please, for fuck's sake, if you are in Surrey and this Lakshmi Narayan temple, you need to go and ask a lot of fucking questions, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem. If you are the Canadian diaspora, can you at least fucking do that, ladies and gentlemen? वो देखो गुफ्तगू किनकी चालू है. हाय 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 हाय, ऐसे स्माइलिंग. ये है हालत. ये है आपकी कम्युनिटी कनाडा की, कैनेडियन हिंदूज. ये कैनेडियन हिंदू है.
इस रंडी के बच्चे का नाम क्या है?
गोयल.
What Goyal?
यार एक मिनट रुक, मैं तेरे को पूरा नाम बताता हूँ, रुक जा।
Listen, don't do a
शायद
half-ass job now. Tweet out all
हाँ,
the names.
करूँगा।
Start a running thread of people, Madhusudan Lamba and all those people, the BAPS guys. Let's make a list. We need to do a crowdsourced list of all these people because we need to write. I already wrote a letter to the MEA about and the Home Ministry about Madhusudan Lama that he's not to be given any entry into India.
हम्म
His family is not to be given entry into India. Let's see what happens.
या ये मतलब
Time I
देखो,
find the next time I find Madhusudan Lama is India, I'm going to tweet out the 2 letters to the Home Ministry and the MEA that I sent, putting it on record that this bastard was cavorting with terrorists in Canada.
और नहीं, दिस मैन तो यार बॉस अभिजीत, दिस मैन हैज टू बी लाइक व्हाट इन द फकिंग वर्ल्ड, लाइक हाउ
Okay, anyway,
कैन.
go on. Listen, we have to go. Press conference shuru ho raha hai. Jaldi. Any more questions?
Okay, any more questions? Yeah, one or two last questions. No, nothing. Nothing is there. We'll wrap up. Okay, guys, press conference शुरू हो रही है. We will wrap up. तू जा अभिजीत, मैं लास्ट के थोड़े वर्ड्स बोल के wrap up कर दूंगा. तू चल, तू जा, तू टाटा कर ले. So guys, once again, I was really irritated. So I apologize if you guys felt that I was a little low key. I genuinely was low key today. I won't lie. क्या करूं? Yeah, it's just what has happened has really disturbed me. And I normally don't do this. I don't give emotional answers, but I think this 3-minute clip of Gaurav Arya, I think I think we should all pay attention to this.
जी, फैसला जज्बाती होकर ही लिया जाता है। हम लोग इतने मैच्योर बनते हैं कि पाकिस्तान ने 1993 में बॉम्बे में बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट करे, कितने वो किलो आरडीएक्स लेकर आए, इतने लोगों को मार दिया, 26/11 करा, जज्बाती नहीं होना चाहिए। पार्लियामेंट पर अटैक कर दिया, जज्बाती कभी नहीं होना। अक्षरधाम मंदिर में अटैक कर दिया, कभी हम लोग जज्बाती नहीं होते। हजारों लोग कश्मीर में मार दिए, जज्बाती मत होना। पंजाब में आग लगाती, जज्बाती मत होना, कभी जज्बाती मत होना। हमारे जज्बात हम लोग लाश हैं क्या कि जज्बाती नहीं होना? आर वी डेड बॉडीज?
नहीं।
देखिए ना, मैं आपको बताता हूं कि ये मारते रहेंगे आपको, पाकिस्तानी फौज मारती रहेगी। आप जब तक पाकिस्तानी पंजाबी फौज की लाशें उनके गांव में नहीं पहुंचाएंगे, या आतंकवादियों को मारना छोड़िए, हाफिज सईद दुश्मन नहीं है, आसिम मुनीर दुश्मन है। दुश्मन को पहचाने आप लोग प्लीज, ये मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है। प्लीज रिकॉग्नाइज योर एनिमी। इट इज जनरल आसिम मुनीर, इट इज नॉट हाफिज सईद, इज इट नॉट मौलाना मसूद अजहर और सैयद सलाउद्दीन। ये दुश्मन नहीं है आपके, दुश्मन है आपका पाकिस्तानी आर्मी चीफ। जब तक आप दुश्मन को नहीं, आप घास आपको काटनी पड़ेगी। नाविका मानिए आपका घर है, घर के आगे घास है, लॉन है, आप घास काटते हैं ना, इसमें घास का दोष नहीं होता, लेकिन घास कटती है। पाकिस्तान घास है, आप हर हफ्ते घास काटिए, या अपनी औकात में रहेंगे। हम लोग बड़े मैच्योर हैं, पता है, हम में एक मैच्योरिटी है। 20 बंदे मार दिए, 28 मार दिए, कोई बात नहीं, वी आर वेरी मैच्योर। क्यों? पाकिस्तान कारगिल के ऊपर चढ़ दौड़ा, हम लोगों ने क्या बोला? लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पार नहीं करेंगे। क्यों नहीं पार करेंगे? पाकिस्तान के पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स है। क्या पाकिस्तान ने कारगिल में आने से पहले सोचा था कि इंडिया के पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स है? सारी मैच्योरिटी दुनिया भर की ठेका हम ही नहीं ले रखा है कि हम मैच्योर है, कल वो 50 और मार देंगे, हम बोलेंगे नहीं, वी आर वेरी मैच्योर। जज्बाती होकर फैसला नहीं लेना चाहिए हमें। कोई तो एक दिन ऐसा आएगा कि जब इतनी लाशें इकट्ठा हो जाएंगी हिंदुस्तानियों की कि हम जज्बाती होकर फैसला लेंगे। कुछ होगा ना, 1000, 2000, 10,000 मरेंगे जब यहाँ पे हिंदू, उस दिन हम जज्बाती होकर फैसला। कल ये 2% का बांग्लादेश आपको आंखें दिखा रहा है, 2 कौड़ी का बांग्लादेश, 2 रुपए की औकात नहीं इसकी, ये आंखें दिखा रहा है। जज्बाती होकर फैसला मत लीजिए, जज्बाती होकर फैसला, दैट्स ओके, आई एम फाइन। मैं तो आपको बता रहा हूं, ये जिहादी सर पे नाचेंगे। आज ये कश्मीर में है, कल ये दिल्ली के अंदर घुसेंगे, ये बॉम्बे के अंदर दोबारा बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट करेंगे, ये मारेंगे लोगों को, क्योंकि पहले मार चुके हैं, ये इनकी फितरत है। इनके सर आपको काट के, जब पाकिस्तानी पंजाबी फौज के सर काट के आप सजाएंगे ना लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल में, तब इनको औकात याद रहेगी। द GOC 15 कोर इज अ स्पेशल फोर्सेस ऑफिसर, ही इज फ्रॉम द स्पेशल फोर्सेस, 15 कोर कमांडर। टेल द गवर्नमेंट टू टास्क द GOC, सर चाहिए इनके, खाली कर देंगे पूरी की पूरी लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल। क्या बात करती है, हमारे बंदे मार के। इंडियन आर्मी ऐसी नहीं है मैडम, आप एक बार आदेश दीजिए, ये तांडव करेंगे मौत का लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पे। पाकिस्तानी फौज को पता नहीं लगेगा मिसाइल कहां से गई, कहां से आई।
And to those people, this very short clip that was played from one of the victims from the family of Shimoga, Karnataka. Remember this, all of you. Never forgive. Never forget.
जिस बंदे ने मेरे पति को मारा ना, वो वही जा रहा था. मैंने उसे बोला मुझे भी मारो, तूने मेरे पति को मारा. मेरे सन में भी बोला, तो उसने हमें नहीं मारा. उसने बोला मोदी को बोलो. उसने बोला नहीं, मोदी को बोलो, कहकर चला गया वहां से.
Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Remember what this woman said. Remember the pain of each and every one of these people who lost their lives. Pakistan will obviously hear from us. It's inevitable. The Indian government will never let us down in that sense, especially this government of Mr. Modi, Shah, and all these people. It's not gonna. Obviously, the response will be measured, calibrated, and all those things will be there. But we, as citizens of India, are at a precarious position. We have to be careful about what we do. We have to be smart. We have to be calibrated. We will make mistakes. We will make errors. But we should remain one. Remember this. The people who killed those innocent tourists, they did not ask their caste. They did not ask whether they speak Tamil or Telugu or Hindi or English or Punjabi or Sindhi. They just looked at what their religion was. They killed them because they were Hindu. Islamism is very clear. Pakistan was built on hatred. Asim Munir just recently in a speech said why Pakistan was created. It's up to us what we do with this. Jati Varna has to die if Hindus have to survive. If Hindutva has to survive, if this country has to survive, we have to kill caste. We have to kill our tribal differences, because for the Islamist, your tribal identities don't matter. You're just a filthy Hindu for the Islamist. So whether it's the Islamist in Murshidabad, whether it's the Islamist in Chittagong or Dhaka, whether it's in the Islamist in Rawalpindi or in Kashmir in Pahalgam, they just care that you are a Hindu. Think about this before I wrap up today and after I wrap up today. This is the reality. Podcasts like mine will come, podcasts like mine will go. But the civilization, this country, this constitution, the idea of this nation, of this civilizational state, is much more important than your stupid caste identity, than your stupid regional identity, than anything. Because if this country doesn't remain, none of us will remain. I'll leave you guys at that. Think about what I have said. Take care. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram.